Okay, we're rolling, y'all. Welcome everybody to episode 25, The Grain of Salt Show. I'm here with the 5D conglomerate as always. Dangerlin.
What up?
Icy Beats.
Hello.
And we're back for our second kind of return, you know what I mean? Since we started this monthly Grain of Salt Show. Started it back up. I think our last episode was pretty good. I liked the topics that we tackled. I liked the way we tackled them. A little bit of an update. You know, we've done the space that we did the first one in 2019 and the last one was like 2.5 years. So it was cool to catch up on everything that everybody has been doing and that 5D has been up to. It's been a journey. It's been a great journey. You know what I'm saying? We're celebrating, what is it? 6 years this year? 6 years of 5D.
Yeah.
And with that topic, I want to piggyback off of the question that I asked you guys on the last episode. I asked you guys to think about, the actual physical work and sweat equity that you guys have put into 5D. I want you guys to speak on the actual bricks you feel that you have laid into the foundation and the house that is 5D. What do you guys think of that? Either you can go first.
You and me, my friend.
Yeah, it's up to you, man.
All right, well, I'll start. Go back and forth, whatever. Let me start with a sigh. The bricks that were laid to make all the project happen were many a bricks, because as you both know, when you're putting work into a track or an album, or just it comes down to just a small thing, like even your verse on one track for one album. There's a lot of work that goes into it, not even studio time, depending on what you're doing even. So like for me, the amount of practice of guitar and different, theory that I had to go through and other artists that I had to study to try to find my sound, to try to, increase my skill level at whatever type of thing I was doing. The hours are countless, that go into that. And it's crazy, when you're thinking all the way back to our first albums, when we first started doing stuff back in 2015, when that was just when Tone was getting started, and that was just when you and I started kind of hanging out more, and we were getting more onto the featuring the limited type of guitar style that I had, and trying to incorporate that into our music to make it mesh well and sound good. It's crazy the amount of time that goes into that, I mean, you could sit in front of a computer for an album, for a track, for countless hours, but it's crazy the amount of time that you have to put in outside the studio, watching videos, just making sure you know how to do this or that. It's crazy, and it's kind of hard to summarize, how much work it actually takes to even get 2 minutes of good tape, time.
Of course.
And it takes me back to how many guitars I've gone through, how many sets of strings I've gone through, different effects and amps that I've experimented with.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, different sounds and vibratos and different choruses and flangers. This is for my guitar heads out there. Y'all know what I'm talking about. It's crazy. I'm thinking back all the way back to Las Cruces right now in the Solano house, the Solano studio house, and I think one of the first tracks that I ever was really featured on was since 71, was it? Or
That's the second album. The first album is Money Talks.
Money Talks. Okay. It's crazy. And then you take me all the way to present.
6 years now.
Yeah, to present, the type of things that I've been doing even more recently, aside from the Mood Food projects, because that's really you only get the Mood Food feel in my personal projects. Everything else is a lot more hip hop oriented, and still tell it's me playing, but like a lot different. I'm trying to experiment with different sounds that mesh and everything, and like it's crazy. I remember when we first moved to Colorado, Ian and I, the amount of time Ian and I would sit in front of the studio with not just electric guitar, but acoustic. We were experimenting with acoustic guitar, and that was the first Mood Food project. Just kind of came to be because of how often we would mess around and just tracks would just appear in our queue. You know what I mean? It was like, oh, we just got a little tipsy one day and was messing around on the guitar, and then I discovered maybe something in that moment, and then it takes something that you stumble upon and to work on it and to transform it into like a skill or like a tool that you use in many different tracks so that you can manipulate in ways to make it sound different. I mean, one can't sit down and like accurately describe the amount of not just fun. I mean, it's stressful too. It's like, and when you're not perfect and you don't have a professional coach, vocal coach, guitar teacher, no professional training prior, right? All this stuff, the stress that comes involved with just getting all this stuff done. You know what I mean? It's
that's perfect, dude.
It's hard.
You perfectly said it. You perfectly answered exactly what I was asking of you. That everything you just described is what goes into building this and into the artist that you are now, into the project that you just put out, into the stuff that you're making now. It's all encompassing, So that was a perfect answer. So I see. What do you think? And coming from your perspective, this whole thing revolves around you.
Oh yeah.
Like, you touch everything. You're the architect to all the shit that we build upon. So how do you see shit from your perspective?
I mean, I'm just gonna take it way back to 2013. Before I even had a computer to work on, we were making beats on an iPad with 8-bar loops, and that's kind of where the idea of like, man, maybe we should start making our own music came from. Because we had a buddy Pat who had a Mac and Logic Pro at the time.
Shouts to Pat. I was talking to him yesterday.
Yeah, shouts to Pat for real.
P. Willis.
He was kind of one of the first ones that really showed me how to track songs properly, how to somewhat mix the songs properly.
Fun fact: he was supposed to do this show originally with me. This was
our
idea.
Huh.
Oh yeah. But things worked out how it worked out.
Oh yeah.
But continue. Sorry about that.
Yeah. So that's 2013. 2014 ended up getting a gaming computer for my brother, and that's kind of where it started in the Solano house of making our own beats. Got a beat pad to make beats, and from there it just kind of became an addiction of how well can we make this music sound. And at that point we were all very ignorant on the quality of audio that we were putting out, but that is also a good thing that we weren't spending hours on hours worrying about how the sound was. It was kind of just like, I like what we're doing, let's lay it down, cool, we had fun, you know what I mean?
But even then though, like back in 2013, 14, which was actually technically before the Solano stuff, people were still drawn to your natural talent on the iPad on an 16-bar loop that we created at 8 in the morning on our way to snowboard.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's crazy that even then, with almost nothing.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's where it started. That's how it started.
Oh yeah. And me and my buddy James have messed around. Like, we downloaded some bullshit apps too, and like made some random beats. You know what I mean? But the time where it actually became like, okay, we can do something with this, I'd say it was 2014. Getting our own computer, having our own house with everybody basically in it all the time. I feel like that was huge. And then from there, it's just spending time together. Because that's pretty much where 5D originated, was Solano House, 2014. We came up with the idea of like, we need to start a group and start putting music out. Because we're making some good music at the time, you know what I mean?
And I remember that too, me and Zach, because we were the two that were like, we were kind of like competing at that time.
Yeah, you were
because we were
battling.
We were the two, it was friendly competition, but we were the two like, yo, these two dudes,
definitely.
they got it.
Oh, and of course, Tone is just like a fiend for competition.
Yeah. And when Tone enters the picture, he just kind of like bum rushes the show. It's like, it's me too, you know? It's like, we welcomed him.
Yep.
It was great, man. So how did you see all of that forming from your perspective? Because you produced all of these albums and all of this sound.
Definitely.
Especially those first few tracks where we all recorded and shit.
Yep.
Like, what was your perspective of all that stuff?
I mean, I thought it was crazy, honestly. Knowing you from cooking at Sunset and all that, you know what I mean, we became very tight friends very quickly. But I mean, you blew me away with your raps the first time I heard them. And I feel like that was huge for all of us, really. For you to have your experience that you did, push Zach in a certain way, push Tone in a certain way, push me in a certain way. Even though we were all really new to the idea of let's make not rap music, but let's make hip hop and whatever, sprinkle in some other genres from Danger.
We're all influenced by other shit too.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, and it was very heavy sample based from the start.
Still is.
Definitely still is. But yeah, I mean, I definitely saw it as like we were just having a blast doing it, and we were in the moment the entire time. We weren't really thinking of like, oh, let's do this to get famous, or like I've got an idea that's gonna make us go viral. Like none of that was ever in the talks. Like I'd never heard a single word of like, this is gonna make me go famous. Like we were just in the moment, having a good time, chilling with the homies. And I feel like that's what really helped build a foundation of like genuine like feeling of music, not just like I'm doing this for my 30 seconds of fame, you know?
Absolutely. I would have to 100% agree with you there. You know, we weren't thinking, we had no ulterior motives. We were just creating because we enjoyed it, we loved it, it sounded good, we sounded good together.
I think we all surprised ourselves with each other too.
Yeah.
You know, we were like, oh, let's try to make this track, and we'll throw some guitar in there, and we'll have Grizz Adams come in and spit this wild, crazy card verse, you know, and then the final outcome was like, whoa, that sounds really good. Let's see if we can do that again a couple times next weekend. You know, I'll bring the beers.
Yeah, that was very much the vibe, man. And I guess, you know, to give my perspective of things, you know, coming off of what I was coming off of, just got out of the group and stuff, and we put out 7 mixtapes. So recording and putting together projects that's what I loved to do already. So I didn't know how to do that by myself, basically. I didn't know how I was going to do that. I don't know if I should have picked some beats. You know, I could have picked like some Apollo Brown, Madlib beats, YouTube shit, and just recorded it and put it out. But I think when I stepped into the situation and I saw everybody's talent, I said, man, there's something here. You know, like we would be fools to not capitalize on all this talent that we got here, you know, and just the energy that we all had as friends, you know, we're partying together, we're hanging out, working together. So it's like we're spending so much time together just building up this energy. And in 15 is when I decide I'm doing an album, or I'm putting all of you guys together, and we're gonna create something that's, and I called it an album because I was trying to make a point, like, because all I had done prior was mixtapes. Like, this was the Dat Piff era, this was the blog era. You had to have a hot mixtape, and then somehow, some way, it kind of turned into a punchline where it was like, oh, check out my mixtape, or like, you know, I would see a meme where it was like, when it's career day and your dad comes and hands out his mixtape and shit, you know what I mean? Like, it was just it was a punchline at that point, you know? And so I was like, no, I'm tired of this shit. Like, I want to be taken serious. I want us to be put into a different light. Like, oh, he's putting an album out. Like, this is not just some check out my mixtape shit. You know, it was a fucking well thought out, front to end narrative story that I think just like once I put that together, everybody realized like this is what we can do, you know. And
definitely.
And there was so many different ways that we all, you know, there's different ways to skin a cat. So everybody's approaches to make albums was different. You know, Tones is different, Grizz's is different, yours is different. It's so incredible to see all the minds kind of like put the battery in all the minds, and then everything just started going. And it was so beautiful to watch.
Yeah.
Especially in 16, that was when we hit our stride. Like, everybody was just looking at each other like, we doing this now, you know, like we're all together, you know, this isn't just one person's album, this is a fucking movement. And
Definitely.
it was just so incredible to experience, man. I'll always cherish those
And
memories.
you were probably the first one out of us to recognize that there was something more than just like a musical mess around.
Right.
You know what I mean? And just kind of like throwing all the ingredients in the bowl, and then that's what you have. You were the first one to start mixing it up and making something out of it too, because the rest of us didn't recognize it. Not that it wasn't there, but the rest of us didn't look at it that way. I think you were the first one, and then once you did start kind of approaching our music in front of us and with us and asking a little bit more of us in certain ways, I think you were definitely the one that kind of opened everyone else's eyes. They were like, you know, Zoe's right. Like, we can do this. Like, we do sound good together, you know?
And
Definitely.
shit, even besides that, man, I was just so motivated by you guys because it was the first time I was around people who were that talented, you know, and
Yeah.
musicians. Like, you guys are all musicians, you know. Me and Zach were kind of just rappers, you know. Like, we come into this with this is our skill set, this is what we can do. But you guys do so much, you know, including Tone. Like, and when you guys are together, you see that. Like, it's musicians. You guys have that training, and you see it when you guys are together, you know.
Yeah.
And so I saw that, and I just like I asked myself, how can I contribute to this? You know, what can I do to make this move? Because I can't actually sit down and play an instrument. You know, maybe if I sat and learned, but like I'm just doing. That's just not what I want to do.
Yeah.
You know, and I really just. That's where I was motivated by you guys, because it was a training of a professional musician type of work ethic that was like, oh, like maybe I can approach rap like this, and songwriting, and just like executive producing and shit, you know, like that's really what I enjoy doing. So it was really incredible to be around everybody and just all of us just grow
Oh, yeah.
and develop our own sound together. And to what it is now,
Oh yeah.
the next thing, I guess that's kind of like a good segue to what I want to talk about next, which is, well, I guess what I should talk about first is the remixes that we just put out for the Bandcamp exclusives. I got my boy Icy to do some remixes of some tracks from There's a Lot Going On, Deuces Wild 2, and we put a different spin on some old tracks. Definitely something we've never done before, especially the Fire Truck remix.
Yeah.
Like, it was just very heavy auto-tune, heavy banger, like, you know, it was just, I've never,
fun,
Clubby.
never done a track like that before. Ian, what do you feel brought new life to those tracks?
Man, I mean, just hearing them over and over again for a few years, you know, just getting comfortable with the songs. I feel like it, my brain's always spinning in a different way. So, I mean, doing sample-based music for so long is almost a natural thing to do a remix, honestly. So taking something that I've heard over and over again and flipping it into something new, I feel like it's pretty easy, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially with having you sitting down and just kind of going through a couple ideas of what do we want to do, which eventually was like, let's do a little club banger type thing with some, just turn the auto tune up and get busy, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I thought it was pretty natural, pretty easy for me. I knew what you wanted in a way, and we just kind of made it happen, you know?
Yeah, absolutely, man.
So, I mean, Fire Truck's a banger to begin with, but then put a little spin on it, put a little auto-tune on it, becomes something new.
Yeah, it made it more catchy, just made it a little more, little more fun, you know, and I've never put auto-tune on rap before.
Yeah.
Well, and that whole idea of remix, you know, doing all that different stuff, taking something that we had before and making it a little different, you know, that just kind of ties back into the previous topic as well. As Ian's probably spent more time in front of the studio computer, or, you know, in the studio, or learning about it than anybody else in the group. You know, like, not only does Ian do his own beat tapes and his own tracks and contributes, you know, audible things to those tracks, but he sits in front of that thing probably 10 times the amount of time that any rest of us do. So when you come to a project like that, where it's like, hey, we're gonna take a track that I did two years ago, whatever, and we're gonna make it a little different. I mean, that's probably so easy for you now because of all the time that you spent.
Definitely.
So, and it sounds great too. Y'all gotta check that out.
Absolutely. So yeah, so into the and also what I want to add to that is for the deluxe editions we put instrumentals and acapellas out for that. So all you DJs, producers who want to mess with that and put your own little take on it, put your own little flip on it, please feel free, hit up my Bandcamp and check those out. So what I want to talk about next, a good segue into that, is the next monthly exclusive that I'm gonna do, which is a Patreon page exclusive project that I've put together over the last couple of weeks. And I'm really, me and Danger were talking about this a little bit earlier, I'm treating this series as like my own little radio station where I can just lock myself into a sound, and I'm gonna switch this sound up every time we do this series. So it could be R&B, it could be alternative rock or some shit, whatever I'm feeling. I just wanna put it together in a nice little short, concise project and just try new different styles and try new different things. I'm doing like a little radio DJ skits on these things, and just trying to tap into more creative shit. The way I was raised, the way I grew up, my parents were always listening to all this incredible music and watching all these incredible TV shows and movies and stand-ups and comedy and shit. Like it was a lot for a young Isaac to take in,
Yeah.
So I guess it's taken me all this time to realize like maybe I could tap into that shit creatively and incorporate it into my music and show a little bit more of me. That's what this whole process that I've had a realization about over these past couple of months has been about. It's just selling the people on who I am,
Definitely.
before an artist, because they gotta know who you are first.
Yep.
And it helps listeners understand your music on a little bit deeper level too. If someone watches the podcast, they kind of figure out who we are as individuals, especially you. You're running the show over here. And it's not just the Grain of Salt show. You have many platforms in which, and not just music platforms too, but like many platforms in which people can learn about you. I think that's a good thing too, because especially how we were talking about, music as a base to us is very important. It's a very, you could call it a spiritual type of feeling for us all. And we all translate our emotion into our music. We talked about that on the last episode a little bit, right? And I think this is great. It's a great, the Patreon page and what you have coming from that is very exciting.
Appreciate it.
Oh, yeah.
You got a little listen to that right
I
before
know.
we tuned in. So what did you think of that? Like just overall?
Oh man, it's I want to say a lot, but it comes down to just a few words really, and it just ties in everything we've even said this show so far. Every step of music and work that we put in the past 6 years up until now is showing, especially in this little Patreon project that I just got a little snippet to, before the show. It's great. It's absolutely great. Everything that we put out is just better and better and better. And even if it's just something small and fun and for the listeners, and it's not, it never is to make headlines. It never is to make money, right now. But it's like, without giving anything away, you know what I mean? It's entertaining in a comedic way, at least to my ears. Have me smiling and laughing.
Oh, yeah.
And, it's funny. You really got something funny and special going on this way. And I think that's a perfect way to embody a part of who you are is someone who's laid back, but like a good sense of humor, but in the base of everything, like music is still very there. It's very much present, very much there and important. And this little project is just a perfect embodiment of that. It's the little comedic aspects you have to it just really kind of grasp me as a listener initially, and then you hit them with some quality music right after that, and it's not like abstract and weird. And for the listener who might not be into all this other stuff, anybody could enjoy it. Plus, the content in which your lyrics follow up. The content is always there, and it's only getting better too. So with that being said, y'all definitely gotta peep that Patreon.
Oh yeah.
It's funny. Ian's our mix and master, so you know exactly what I'm talking about too.
Yeah,
You
definitely.
produced the whole thing.
It was a blast. It was a good time too.
Yeah, and all the beats are from Ian, and man, like the quality all around is just
Oh yeah.
better and better and better than anything we've already put out too. It's
And
fun.
Tell me what you think about it.
Yeah.
Since you spent a lot of time with it.
I totally would agree with Andy. I think a big add on to what you're doing on this one Not that you haven't done it before, but it's kind of keeping that comedy there. Cause like, the more and more I listen to just music in general these days, especially like hip hop and stuff that's coming out more recent, is it's just kind of like a joke in a way. Like the not the whole body of music, but very like certain parts and certain things going on within each song.
It's very cartoonish.
Very cartoonish, and very like not that they're taking music as a joke, but they're keeping the listener smiling and chuckling throughout the song, which I feel like helps the listener's idea of who this rapper is, and kind of makes it more easy to look up their other albums and shit like that, you know what I mean? But yeah, I feel like you did a great job on being able to hook the listener immediately, which you guys will know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You hook the listener and then you hit them with a good track. So I think it's great. I mean, it's 4 bangers, you know what I mean, coming straight off the block. Plenty of, I mean, you could totally tell your influence, where you were kind of, like, if nobody knew you and this was the first album they listened to, they could guess the region you grew up in, like your musical influence to an extent, shit like that, you know what I mean? So it's just cool to hear that, which is so hard to do, but that's where all the time and effort, and just like Andy said, you can hear the amount of work that we've put into this just off of listening to this one tape, which is, it's good to hear, man. It's cool to hear.
Well, and I'm gonna add this last little snippet, and even with all the work and all the projects that you personally have done, not just with 5D, but with your group before that as well. You know what I mean? All the mixtapes, albums, you know, EPs, whatever, R&B albums, you know, Going the Wrong Way, whatever it was. It's still something new from you a little bit. Still, you know, it's still something new. It's still something exciting and a little bit different that you brought into the table. But it's hard to explain. It's still the old you, but it's also new and improved.
Absolutely. That's probably exactly what I was just about to say. Is like, throughout my whole career, I guess if you want to call it, I've had a very specific type of way I've wanted to present rap music. Right. I always felt like rap music was supposed to sound a certain way and look a certain way, and if it didn't look that way, I was very standoffish, and I didn't really grasp the concept of what the new generation was really doing until I started hanging out with people who weren't trying to hear the music I was playing. You know what I mean? Because usually I get around new people who are playing music and they're like, what is this? Like, they try to check it out. And I was around these people who just didn't give a fuck. They're just like, yo, like, we don't care what you're listening to. We're jamming this NBA YoungBoy over here. You know what I mean? And so it kind of gave me like a, what? Like, you don't like this? You know what I mean? So it forced me to like say, okay, well, what does he like about YoungBoy over here? What is he doing? You know? And it made me check him out and kind of like analyze shit from an artist perspective. Like, oh, like, I get it. I get why he likes that. It's an energy, you know? It's something that you feel, you know what I'm saying? And it's something that I hadn't really tapped in. I kind of dabbled here and there. I feel like the 5D album was where I dabbled the most into it, of just like trying to do a new mainstream sound, trying to sound fun and catchy and like, but still be lyrical and still have my type of rap that I like to do. And so I feel like that kind of idea has been fully realized on this little PTR thing, because like I said, what I'm trying to do with this series is challenge myself, do something new, do something that I haven't done before. And so with this new like trappy mainstream, you know, stuttered hi-hats and shit, like I just wanted to try and like I said, I dabbled before, I tried it before, but I still did it in like a fuck you kind of way, you know? And this time I'm not trying to mock it, I'm not trying to disrespect it, I'm trying to engage, you know?
Well, you knocked it out of the park.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it, guys.
I definitely agree.
Yeah, you definitely got to head to the Patreon page and check that out.
And that's the whole thing, man. I wanted to make sure that it was top quality, because I want some kind of incentive for people to go check this out, you know? Because I'm not going to put this up anywhere else. This is Patreon only, you know? And if something happens where Patreon goes down or something, then okay, maybe you might get it. But this is for the people who really fuck with me, who really want to hear a new sound from me and just something different. Gotta head to that Patreon page and check it out, July 2nd. WPTR Volume 1. My boy IC Beats produced, mixed, mastered it all. And I'm really proud of
It's a
it.
heater.
And it's not like you can listen to it, enjoy it without investing a huge part of your day too.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
like
it's
12
not
minutes.
Yeah, 12, 13 minutes of your time. I mean, if you're on a commute to work, you could probably get the whole thing in, depending.
Absolutely.
And it's great, and it's enjoyable and entertaining, and just through and through a great project, dude.
Yep.
I appreciate it.
You
Second
too,
that-
Gator. I
second
mean,
that
beats.
one.
Yeah.
I even commented to Zoe. I was like, "Yo, where'd you get these beats?" And then he was like, "You already know. You already know."
Yeah, man.
But Ian mixed mastered the whole thing, produced the whole album. I was like, "Damn, these sound great. It's a great job on the beats."
And that's just a little
Appreciate it.
taste tester of the type of bag this dude has. Like, this dude has so many pockets and styles that he can do that I was able to just go through some recent beats and find 4 bangers that were like, yeah, this is the project. And it's a completely different sound than a lot of shit that you've done.
Yeah.
Like,
Probably just the beat he threw together after a long day at
that's,
work, too.
you know, when he just sits here for like 15 minutes, throw something together, and like, that's probably what these were,
Probably.
But I'm really glad. It's new
Yeah.
ground.
Great job.
Oh,
New
yeah.
ground.
Great job.
I appreciate it. So that's a good segue into what I want to talk about next, which is, we kind of touched on it last podcast. But this R&B project that I'm been working on this whole year, I've said this about 3 or 4 different times, but I believe now it is done. I believe all the recording that I needed to do is finished, and it's been a long, grueling process, but I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed pushing myself, challenging myself to do something new. I just wanted to give a little bit more detail because it's a little more fully realized now. I kind of know when I want to release it, how I want to do it, and I just want to give everybody out there listening or watching just a little more introspective perspective of what you can expect from this album. So, as you guys know, it's very 80s themed and based. I'm very highly influenced by specifically the R&B, soul, and funk that came out in the early to mid 80s, right? I mean, your Prince, The Time, you know what I'm saying? Like, even a little bit later with Jamie Lewis and Janet Jackson and stuff like that. Like, that's very the high influence of this project. But what I wanted to do is kind of like what we touched on last episode. I wanted to be derivative of these influences, but I didn't want to imitate,
Right.
I don't want to come on the track sounding like Prince, because it's just like, when I hear that, I'm kind of off put.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to put something together that had that feel, but still had a fresh, brand new type of vibe to it. I really pushed myself vocally with this. I went through phases of just like, damn, I don't know if I can do this. Like, I don't know if I am vocally I don't know if I have the ability to do this, And with months of re-recording, I probably re-recorded it like 10, 15 times, the whole project,
Yep.
But this past session that I just had this last weekend was very, very like I felt like I had it down now. Like,
Oh yeah.
and you heard the most recent exports, so you can kind of touch on it a little bit more, because I'm so wrapped up into this project, and so like I've been just entrenched in this thing for so long.
Yeah.
Like, I think I even went through a phase where I was just tired of it. Like, I'm tired of this fucking project.
Definitely.
Like, and then recently is when I've kind of like got it back, and I'm like, okay, no, I need to knock this out the park.
Yeah.
These songs are too strong to not do like that.
Yeah.
Well, with that being said, let me ask this question to Gator, since because I haven't been able to listen to the most recent dudes.
Absolutely.
And and like you said, you've listened to this project, re-recorded it 10, 15 times. So let me ask a question, Gator. Like, how do you feel about like this latest one of his RB album coming out, this latest re-recording or whatever?
Yeah.
How do you feel about it?
I mean, we were talking about it yesterday, but I think he did just what he wanted to do. He knocked it out the park, man.
Yeah. Well, as he does.
Yeah. So which I totally agree. There were speed bumps. I mean, there were things that obstacles that felt like maybe couldn't get past. With just a couple songs, couple parts on each song. But I mean, just like you were saying, man, it just takes repeating it, even if it feels like you're beating a dead horse 1,000 times. We've all been there, bro. Like mixing, mastering, recording,
Re-recording.
re-recording over and over and over and over and over again is something that sometimes needs to be done, and it helps you in the end. But another thing that helps with too is just like getting comfortable with the song that you wrote, not really thinking of reading it, but just like performing it, you know what I mean? Rather than, because that'll take your mind off the whole trying to say each word perfectly and put it more in tune to where am I as far as the tone or the pitch of the song, which I feel like you hit. Like every song I listened to yesterday, I thought was good to go. So
I can't wait.
Vocally, I think it's there. Me and Andy are gonna touch on it a little bit, but
I want to treat this the way I feel it should be treated. You know, I feel like these songs are very strong. I've put a lot of songwriting and just emotion and things that I've picked up because all the music that I've listened to and as a child and my parents and my family were playing, you know, you enjoy it as a kid, but when you grow up, especially me, when I grow up as a songwriter, I'm listening to these songs as a songwriter's perspective, you know, and I'm thinking like, shit, man, like this is crazy. Like, how do you even write shit like this, you know? And so that's kind of what I was tapping into when I was creating this, writing it, and even recording it, because sometimes you get to a place where like, maybe I gotta change this melody, or I'm changing this bridge. Like, it went through so many different phases.
right.
And frustrating at sometimes, but in the end, I had one listen. The first listen I had of the new exports, I kind of got like a weird, like, I was like nervous. I was like, yo, like this is fucking, I think I did it. Like I had that kind of like moment, and I had to like just pace around for a second and just like breathe, because I was like, holy shit, I did it. I fucking did it.
Yeah, dude.
And there's a couple tracks I had to cut because they just weren't good enough. You know, my original plan was I was gonna record 10 tracks, cut 4, keep it at 6, but I ended up recording 8, and I was like, I'm keeping them all. I went through a phase where I'm keeping them all, and then I just decided like, no, these 2 tracks are not good enough. They're not gonna make the cut.
Yeah.
And so I'm keeping it at 6 tracks, and that's really inspired by like what Prince did when he was putting together the Time records. Is he would put 6 tracks. That was it. It was fucking 6 tracks, in and out, bangers. Like that was all you had, you know. And so since I'm pulling so much from that energy of just that Morris Day shit, of just like really trying to embody that shit that I love so much. I've kept it down to 6. It's a short and sweet project, but I really think that it's concentrated, and I really, really took a lot of time to get the vocals. I mean, I produced a song on there. That's something that I've never done before. And I just pulled a lot from my influences, man. I pulled from them and found what I could do with it instead of just like doing it. And I think I pulled it off, man.
Yeah.
I think I pulled it off.
Well, it's really exciting to hear from my point of view, since I haven't heard most recent, the redos, you know, the mastering, you know, mixing and all that stuff. And to hear you speak about it this way and hear Ian's input on it as well, like, I'm always excited. But I mean, I'm really eager at this time, you know, to hear it and to work on it too with the vocals and stuff like that. I'm excited. I'm excited. You're getting me kind of pumped up for this.
Yeah, that's what I want to do, man. I want to get everybody pumped up for this, because Going the Wrong Way was cool, you know. It was good enough to go out. I'm happy with it when I listen to it, but just as a vocal, all the shit that I've learned now is just like, damn, I wish I could have just did something better, you know. But at the end of the day, man, I think those songs, especially the second half of that album, is really, really strong.
I was gonna say there's a few really good songs.
Yeah.
Ongoing.
Oh,
Going the Wrong Way.
Yeah. I mean, I was just listening to Going the Wrong Way a day or 2 ago.
Yeah. There's some really good songs.
I mean,
there are some weak songs on there. Not weak, but
No, I would agree.
it's not like hitting, you know what I mean?
There's some that
was it Looking or Always Looking?
Oh, that's probably my favorite.
Dude, that's gotta be one of my favorite tracks from Going the Wrong Way.
Fast Lane.
Yeah,
To me, that 3 of Looking, Fast Lane, and The Shadows is
The Shadows.
those are the 3 best songs.
Shadows was fun too, and we have a live performance out there somewhere, a video live performance
It's
of
on
the
YouTube.
Shadows. Yeah.
Fifth Dimension.
Yeah, great track. Super fun to do.
And
Yeah.
that one is cool because that's kind of a little more insight of what I want to do, like alternative rock wise. You feel me? Like I want to dip into that bag. You know, I listen to all this different shit. You know, so it's like I want to partake. You know, I want to play reindeer games. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And since you guys, you are familiar with that type of shit too. You know, hip hop wasn't you guys' first endeavor into music, so you guys are
Definitely.
familiar. It's gonna be cool to get back into that. See you guys tap back into that, like a more of a rock perspective. You know, because that's
Don't
what I
even-
want to do. you
Don't
know?
even tickle me like that.
Oh,
man.
dude, it's happening. It's happening.
My fingers just want to.
Sure.
Already.
No doubt. Well, I guess that's a good segue, and you guys will get some more details about the album as it starts getting more. Just know it's coming fucking soon.
It is coming.
And I'm gonna start putting the rollout together, and I'm gonna present it really nicely. So the next thing we want to get into, man, of course, our new music review, man. I mean, it's only been a month since we did the last pod, but so much fucking music has already came out. I think, I could either just go through everything very fast, but I kind of just want to review some things.
so much.
Yeah, I mean, you figure out what I've been listening to
I
here.
think the first thing that I want to touch on, first and foremost, is, I kind of touched on this last pod. Your old Droog, man. This dude has been on a really, really incredible run. He just put out another project called Time, and I was interested because he's marketing this as his debut, right? This dude has like fucking 7 projects, but this is his debut. So I'm okay, whenever artists say that, I kind of go in with a weird, I don't know what to expect. And what I got from him, man, was a lot of introspective shit. He's a very punchline heavy rapper. He does incorporate the comedy and like kind of outlandish stuff into his raps. But with this project, man, he really told some personal stories and talked about like death and very deep shit, and revolved it all around time. And like he has this song called The Magic Watch where he's like pretending it's a time machine, but he's really referencing the album. And like it's just fucking incredible, man. Like he really, really put together a great fucking project. He's storytelling, rapping at a high capability, beats are ridiculous. He has this song that's very sexually graphic, And Droog, he's not a type of rapper that does that type of shit, So I was kind of surprised to hear that, but the way that he put it together was just like funny as hell. Just the way he's told the story, and I sent the album to Tone, our boy Tony Toe Tags, and I didn't tell him about this track because I already knew he was gonna react to it. You know what I mean? So I sent it to him.
Because he is that type of
Yeah,
rapper.
exactly. And so he hits me back, and man, he's fucking dying laughing. He's just like incredibly. He's just like, bro, I was not expecting that. I was like, yeah, I know, bro. I knew you were gonna react to it that way, So you guys should probably check that shit out, man. It's really funny. It's called So Sick. I think that's the title of the track. Droog really put together a really great album, man. Besides that, well, actually, let me take a little. Take a little dip.
That's what I'm saying. There's been too much.
There's so much that came out just
There's been too much, bro.
So, Mind Design, producer out of LA. Dude is really, really incredible. I've kind of mentioned him a little bit on the podcast before. He put out a new project, and he's mostly known for instrumental stuff, real jazzy stuff. But on this one, he's kind of getting into a more of an R&B pocket. He's got some artists that he works with on there, singing some great backgrounds on there. It's really good. Lil Baby, Lil Durk, they dropped their shit, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And I've been huge on the Baby bandwagon. I'm not too big on Durk, but this project came out and I was really enjoyed it, man. It's not an album of the year contender for me, but I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Oh yeah.
Baby's rapping on there.
The more I hear Lil Durk too, like there's really good stuff from him, and there's just kind of like he doesn't have any bad stuff in my opinion. Like it's either like the mediocre, like get what you pay for Lil Durk, or like he came to fucking spit, Lil Durk.
Yeah, he has some moments on this project that are really nice.
He's got some shining moments for sure.
Lloyd Banks album that came out, man. I know, G-Unit fame, Lloyd Banks. He's had a really weird career. I think during his label time when he was with 50 Cent and stuff, I think they really wanted him to focus on, have a girl track, have a club track, have a street track. He didn't really care for all that shit. Whenever you heard his mixtapes, you heard what he just wanted to rap.
Yeah.
So he's put out this new album, and he's rapping with the best people that are rapping right now. You got Ransom, Freddie Gibbs, Rock Marcy, Benny. You got all stars of underground hip hop right now.
Yep.
He's rapping at a very high level. It's a very dope project. I was glad to see that, man. Also, fucking Peter Rosenberg, man. Peter Rosenberg of Hot 97 fame put together a little project, man, and he's got the who's who of underground rap on this shit. So like, if you're an underground boom bap head, this is heaven for you, basically. And I was really surprised with how good it was, man. So I feel like when you have that
That's
much
pretty
talent
cool.
on there, you can't miss. You know what I'm saying? Andy, what did you think about that Covet album that I sent you, man? Of like it's like a jam, it's like jam rock shit. Remember when I sent you that a
Yeah,
couple weeks
yeah,
ago?
absolutely. I only got a chance to listen to it a couple times, kind of on my commute to work sort of thing. I was feeling it though, man. I mean, like I love kind of jam. Not exactly jam band. I can't believe I was about to say that. But like I love anything you can jam to.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And some of that more kind of like I'm not R&B, but like those more instrumentation oriented tracks definitely speak to me. And I have a habit of toning out lyrics to listen to drums and bass and guitar and stuff
That's
like
minimal
that.
lyrics on that, so it's pretty nice.
Yeah, well, and that's my bread and butter right there. I mean, anybody who's listening to Mood Food knows that you have minimal lyrics on them, and it's very instrumentation oriented. I love it, man. I'm looking forward to anytime you send me music. I try to really kind of like set some time aside to listen to it. And like I was saying in the last episode here, when I listen to music, I'll listen to the same music for sometimes over a year, you know what I mean? So I can understand it and really know what's going on there and everything. So I'm looking forward to dissecting this over the next 2 years.
Word. No doubt. Man.
Absolutely, dude. No, I appreciate you sending that over too. It's always
For sure,
always makes
yeah.
my
I thought you would
enjoyable.
enjoy that. It was just very, I think it was just guitar based drums.
Yeah.
Very atmospheric, minimal lyrics. That was pretty nice, man. And that girl is shredding on that guitar on there.
Yes, please.
Another album that dropped, man. It's been anticipated for a long time, but her finally dropped her debut. I guess they've been, she's put out so many projects, and this is her debut. 21 tracks, very long. Gotta say, man, I was not feeling it. I was not feeling it the way that I was expecting something very great, because her last project, I guess, she put it out in EPs, and then she put it all together as one 21 track project. And for me, there's like only 2 skips on it. Like, it's fucking incredible classic. So I was kind of expecting some more with this, but she kind of toned it down. Very acoustic. The songwriting, some of the songs are kind of lazy. It just, I don't know, man. I was expecting more. And then something's going on with her and that label, man, because like, first they're kind of propping her up as like the next big superstar, and then all of a sudden this album comes out and this is her debut. Nobody fucking knows about it. It basically flopped, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not the type of fan that pays attention to sales. Like, I don't give a fuck about sales, you know what I mean? But like, she came out and did like 36K, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, for someone that they've been propping up as this big superstar, Tyler is projected to do 175 this week, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, damn, like, what are y'all doing over there, And she keeps the mystique. She's very quiet. She doesn't do interviews and shit like that. But I feel like someday in the future, maybe years later, we're gonna hear about what happened, because it doesn't look.
Something behind the scenes.
Something happened, bro.
right?
Something is going on with that. Because there was a moment too where she was just putting out singles, putting out Lucy's, no fucking marketing behind them. Then Damage comes out and it's records, it's on the charts and shit, topping on the charts, and then that was basically done without the fucking label. So it's like, what are y'all doing?
Right.
'Cause she's super talented, and I was disappointed, man.
That sucks to hear.
We got new singles from Isaiah Rashad, Vince Staples, bangers. So I can only assume projects are coming. Well, Vince announced his next project is another one with Kenny Beats, so that's just gonna be
That's
crazy.
gonna be good.
Isaiah Rashad's new single is just more Isaiah Rashad. That dude does not fucking miss.
Yeah, he definitely doesn't.
He got it, man. And this past Friday, man, very, very fucking busy Friday. Okay, there's so much music that came out. Hiatus Coyote, one of my favorite bands out of Australia. They've been promoting this album for fucking months already. Really, really crazy. You gotta have some time to like take that shit in. There's just so much going on instrumentally, vocally. I think Napalm is one of the best vocalists of this generation, man. She's fucking incredible. It's kind of weird. So if you're into that type of shit, you know what I'm saying? That's what they bring. You got the Marias with the new project. They were kind of, when they first came out, more on the alternative rock side, a little more kind of like lighthearted type of songs that they would sing. This new album is kind of like more electronic, like kind of like synth poppy. The first few tracks I wasn't feeling, but then they kind of got back into that alternative rock vibe towards the end of the project. So I came away with a few songs on there that I liked. New Evidence, dope beats. He's rapping on there. Also, these two bands that are kind of low key. Somersault and Brain Story. It's kind of like alternative rock vibes. Brain Story is more like jazzy, but they have some fucking bangers, man. Those dudes get down. But of course, the big fucking release that I want to talk about that I kind of just mentioned is Tyler, man. Tyler came out with the new project, man. Call Me When You Get Lost, or Call Me If You Get Lost. I can't remember what it is.
I think it's If. That'd be funny if it was When.
Yeah, I can't.
Tell me when you get, because it's like you're gonna get lost.
It's if.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, man, Tyler put this project together, and he teased a couple tracks. He put the Lumberjack single out, and he teased a couple more videos on his IG. And it was like, yo, he's fucking rapping this. So it's like, okay, I was going into this like getting ready for some raps, and man, did he fucking deliver, man. He's rapping at a top tier caliber, man. I mean, the schemes, the metaphor, and he's talking his shit. You feel me? He's not, because I feel like, me personally, I've been kind of weird about Tyler shit. First, I fucking hated Odd Future when it came out, and then time kind of moved on, and then Cherry Bomb is where I was like, it was Find Your Wings on Cherry Bomb that was like, oh, he's making shit like this? Like what? You know? And so I kind of tapped in a little bit more. And then Flower Boy is when I became, okay, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of this dude. Like that album was fucking incredible. And then Igor came out, and then he dipped into his more alternative kind of poppy bag, and then they gave him the Rap Grammy for that, and everybody was kind of like, what? Even he made a comment where he was like, you know, it's a great moment, you know, I love winning the Grammy, but like I'm not even rapping on this fucking album. And he's like, well, how come every time, you know, somebody, a black person does music like that, you know, you guys automatically throw it into the rap? Like he was trying to go for pop album of the year, like, you know, just album of the year, period. Yeah. And so I think that kind of I think everybody saying like, yo, Tyler's not rapping on this album made him kind of be like, oh, I'm not rapping? Y'all don't think I'm rapping? Right. So he came on this one and he was just like, I'm fucking tearing heads off on this shit. And then the whole kind of concept of having the Gangsta Grills, you know, DJ Drama on it, just is more callback to, you know, Pharrell is somebody that he worships, somebody that I worship. So it's like, Pharrell was putting out the In My Mind album, he put out the Gangsta Grills mixtape, and it's like one of the best Gangsta Grills mixtapes of all time. He's just fucking talking his shit on there, basically. And so that's kind of what I think Tyler was trying to embody here, and I think he more than did it. And we haven't heard DJ Drama do some shit like that in so long. And it's funny because I'm kind of old enough now to see the kids, they don't get DJ Drama, like what he does or why he's important and shit. And I'm just like, man, like I'm fucking old. You know
it's like, why is this guy yelling?
He's just yelling, like it's just like, yeah, man, like this was a moment, you know. If you weren't there, you weren't there, you know. Right. But it's incredible. Of course, Tyler always throws his different shit in there. He's got the track on there. It's 2 tracks in one. It's called Sweet and I Thought You Wanted to Dance. And it's more, the first track is like straight up R&B shit. He's got Brent Faiyaz on there. He put 2 hooks on there, or two bridges on there. I was like, whoa, kind of noticed that off top. I was like, damn, he's going crazy on this one. And then it transforms into like this reggae dance hall kind of little like poppy tune, man. It's fucking great, man. Like he's got a piano sample on there, and he's him and this girl are singing to it, and it's just like, damn, like it's so sweet, man. It's so fucking sweet. I really loved what he did on that shit, man. I was just, this is probably my album of the year so far, you know. I know I had a couple contenders before, like I said, Drew before this Tyler drop that was my album of the year. Yeah. Joyce Rice, Overgrown before that was my favorite of the year. But this shit, man, Tyler, he's fucking in his bag, bro. He's in his bag, and I was just like so shocked. But because he's doing the way he's laying the rap vocals, man, like he's just got different shit going on where he's got people yelling in the back, or he might cut the beat and insert a different sound and shit, or he might throw like a bunch of vocals on just one word, like fucking, he's going crazy. Yeah, he is wild. And I love it because he is such a fan, bro. That was kind of what made me a fan of his, was just like watch interviews and like seeing an Nardwuar interview, Odd Future and shit, and like the way he talks about music is just like, oh shit. He's like, yeah, track number 6 on this. It was produced and it was written by this. You know what I mean? And it's like, that's how I am. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I was kind of like, damn, like I didn't know he was like that about music. And then, so I think now, especially with the past 3 albums, he has made music for fans, you know, or even from a fan's perspective. You know, he works with who he wants to work with, and he gets what he gets out of them, man. And it's just fucking incredible, especially this Wayne verses. Like, he had the verse on Smuckers from Cherry Bomb, and now he's got the verse here. Where he's fucking spazzing, and it's like, damn,
That's
man.
something
Like,
I never thought I'd hear Wayne spit on.
I think we all kind of want a project from Wayne produced by Tyler, because it would be fucking
I
incredible.
would love that.
You know.
With one request from me, just not a lot of auto-tune.
Oh, of course. No,
'Cause I love Wayne's real voice.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's what's so great about the tracks he's done with Tyler, is that they're such a weird, different sound and such a weird beats, but he just finds those pockets where he's like, yeah, that's the Wayne we love, you know? So I know you guys have kind of touched a little bit on the projects. You know, what do you guys think of not just this project, but Tyler in general, like his evolution?
You want to go?
You go ahead, brother.
I've always loved Tyler, the Creator, man. To be honest, I've always loved the weird, quirky kind of dude that he is.
Yeah.
Especially he keeps it funny, which is a big thing for me. I've always loved Tyler, man, and
It kind of broke. Not that I was like super invested in it, but it was kind of hard to hear or see that Tyler and Earl kind of went separate ways after that whole feud. But I remember seeing, this is kind of a little off topic, but I remember seeing Earl at Red Rocks, and it was like one of the weirdest, saddest moments.
The Anderson .Paak show?
Yeah, it was one of the saddest moments for me as an Earl fan, because I do love Earl Sweatshirt, man, and I love Tyler Creator, but watching Earl do that at Red Rocks, like he did not perform, and he didn't care to perform.
He didn't look like he was enjoying it.
He didn't give a fuck there, bro. And the entire time he was saying in between songs, like, I don't care if you guys are listening. I don't care if you're in tune.
Yeah.
Like, you guys do whatever you want. I'm just I'll perform and be gone. Kind of.
Yeah, he was just rapping at us.
So weird, dude. So weird. But going back to Tyler, I've always loved him, man. I've always loved his style, how open he is about everything. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't give a fuck. I believe he had a bar on this new album saying that I think it was like, I made Will's son cry or something like that.
I got some wild shit.
He's
man.
wildin', bro. He's always
There's a
wildin'.
song on this. I don't know if you guys have gotten to it yet, but there's a song called Wilshire where it's 8 minutes straight, and he's talking about the situation where he like basically was seeing this girl that was with a friend of his, I guess, and he's just going on this like 8 minute, like it literally sounds like it's recorded on fucking earpod mic. Like you could hear the pops and just like it just has that feel to it, and he just gets really, really in detail about it, the way he tells it from beginning to end, and just how it's like I'm a shitty person, I know, but like all that shit goes out the window. It was weird. I never heard him address something like this, but it was very Tyler-esque the way he did it, you know. And there's even a song on there where he's kind of addressing like cancel culture and just like he says like some girl told him that he had to like talk about Black Lives Matter stuff, and he just goes in, he just kind of like. And he has a bar on it where he says, he's like, I was canceled before canceled was Twitter fingers or some shit. And it's like, hey, man, that's fucking true. Like,
Well, let me branch off of that, what you
Absolutely.
said right there. As far as my perspective of Tyler, the Creator, from a musical standpoint, it's been harder for me to like get into Tyler, the Creator as an artist.
That was
right?
all it was. Yeah.
And it, like, I was the same thing. And it wasn't even that I like wasn't a fan. It's just that I didn't even give it the time. You know what I mean? I heard somebody else play some, and I'm like, hey, yeah, I don't think I'm gonna go play this on my own.
Yeah.
That being said, and I'm no Zoetic. But the interviews and like the stuff that kind of gives him a little bit more depth, just like this show will give ourselves a little bit more depth, like the little interviews or snippets of interviews or things that I've heard him say, you know, about this or that, or just kind of like getting his perspective on, you know, topic A or topic B, has kind of given me more of a respect for Tyler, the Creator. And like it you know, the things that I've seen that shed certain lights on him. It's like, okay, he's not this knucklehead clown who's just out there to, I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna make music and I don't give a fuck. Even though that's like, like how he makes his music.
Maybe that's how he was at one point, but he's just shown so much growth that it's like
absolutely,
it's so great to watch.
Which I would agree, he was at that at one point.
Yeah,
like
well,
when he put out the I'm a fucking walking paradox, I feel like he did not. He was just rapping, bro.
Yeah.
He wasn't trying to prove anything.
Well, I haven't gotten to his whole album, but I was having some technical difficulties yesterday when you kind of put me onto it and everything. But I was listening to a couple of his tracks this morning, and at least the first few tracks of his album, and from a musical standpoint, from a musician standpoint, I really kind of liked how he was piecing all of his tracks together. Kind of gave me, in that sense, it kind of gave me a Beatles Love album feel to it, where each track kind of zones into the next track. Like I said, I haven't gotten into the whole album. At least the first 3-4 tracks kind of just boom, 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 but you don't even realize you're listening to more than one track, you know?
And that's what I mean by he makes music from a fan's perspective.
Yeah, and I'm talking about being a Beatles fan and getting that from Tyler, the Creator.
Yeah.
Who the fuck has ever said that before about
he's super
those
musical
two artists?
Man. The way he produces, the way he puts tracks together, man, it's been so great to see, from just that weird little synth that he used to put in Odd Future songs to where like he's fucking composing shit,
right?
You know, and he's got such great musical elements and just such a knack for samples and just weird production. Even his drums are just weird.
Nasty,
like it's
dude.
so weird.
It's so good though.
But I love it so much because he pulls so much from that Pharrell Neptune's bag, and he just puts a whole different perspective on it, man. And it's a sound that I already grew up fucking loving, and I still love. So to hear kind of the genes of that still in music and still affecting shit, man, it makes me feel so good. And also, I can't even imagine how it feels to be able to just call your fucking hero Pharrell for any time that you want. You know, you get him on a track, he's on this track with fucking Uzi Vert, which I'm not too huge of a fan of, but I mean, like I said, man, Tyler just pulls the best out of these people who he's working with. And Pharrell's on there talking his shit like old skateboard P, bro, and we haven't heard that in so long, you know, so I was just in music nerd heaven listening to this fucking album, dude. I was really, didn't know it was coming, you know. Tyler just kind of hit us out of nowhere with this one. And
well, I'm looking forward to like exploring it a little bit more. Like I keep saying this, I'm probably gonna keep saying this, you know. It's like when I listen to music, especially if you're putting me onto something, you're like, hey, I think you should check this out. I mean, I'd probably take a few things away from this. Like I'm looking forward to like really kind of sitting down a little bit more and kind of going through that album and exploring that growth too is something that I can really appreciate.
And I think this is an album that anybody can enjoy, man. You know, this isn't like I feel like before he made shit specifically for his base and like this is what y'all want, this is what y'all getting. But this one is just very, he's just talking his shit, man.
Yep.
It's very, very nice, man. So I was really, as a fan, I'm really proud to see that moment, you know, because this dude, there was time even on Flower Boy, because like even his albums have not been happy. They've been very, you know, he was angry, he was, you know, just feeling a lot of weird emotions. And like with this project, this is his happy project. Like he's like, damn, like there's even an interlude where he's just like, man, life is good. He's just like listing off everything that he's into right now.
Definitely.
It feels
it's
so
good to see too.
It's so great to hear, because there was a moment where he was like, fuck, I'm not getting no placements, nobody wants no beats, I can't do shit, nobody wants to fuck with me, you know what I'm saying? It's like, damn, you don't want to hear that, because especially someone like me who I want to write songs for other people, you know, I want to help other people, you know, with my sound, basically, you know. So to hear that, it's just like, damn, it was heartbreaking, you know, because like, fuck, these people are passing up on all kinds of shit, but it's like, now it looks like everything is kind of coming together for him as like just an all-around artist. And of course, he's into all his fashion stuff, which I'm not really, you know, I don't care for all that shit, but it's just to see artists do what they want, that's when you get the best music.
Definitely.
So that was great. If you haven't heard the album, I'm sure everybody's already buzzing about it, man. It's pretty big right now.
Oh yeah.
So
Slapping.
just wanted to give my hats off to Tyler, man. Putting out one of my favorites of the year so far. We're only in June, in July, so we'll see how the rest of the year goes. I think the rest of the big dogs are gonna start coming out, because everything's opening up, man. Everything is getting back to normal, and I think that's what the music industry was waiting for. So can't wait to hear what's next. You guys have anything else that you want to touch on? Anything you want to bring up?
Yeah, I'll add a couple things. I think since the last episode, I went to Red Rocks concert, went to go see a group called Papadosio, which is an electronic group. Definitely not my bag typically. What a buddy of mine put me onto them. Well, he didn't even put me onto them. He just bought me a ticket to the concert, and I was just so, like you were saying, the music industry has been waiting to kind of get back into the flow of things, and Red Rocks opening up here in Denver has been a huge stepping stone recently to get back into music. So I went to go see them live. Incredible. Definitely not what I was expecting. You listen to any of their albums through the streaming platforms that they have out there, and it's very electronic heavy, very trippy type of music, but live it was completely different, and I was surprised. I was 100% surprised. I enjoyed the concert so much more than I thought I was. Really had a great time. So shout outs to Papadosio and their latest album that came out last year, Microdosio. Give you a feel about what their music is a little bit.
Like that.
I want to give a quick shout out to the Orange Mountain, which is a small group. My buddy Levi and his sister and their dad do the producing for this music, and they got one album out on Apple Music and a couple tracks.
Nice.
I was listening to them the other day, and as like artists who aren't big, like we said, us as a group have been kind of doing this for 6.5 years or whatever. Shout out to them, because I checked out his music. He's a guitar player like me, but he does vocals as well, which I can appreciate because that's something that I never learned how to do. Shout out to the Orange Mountain. I listened to a couple of their tracks and their album. They did really well. Checked out Mac Aries, the Magic 8 Ball that you kind of put me onto last time. I was really feeling him as well. I think me and Ian have been touching on the Masego Studying Abroad joint from 2020.
Yeah, that was really good.
Is even though that's a year old now, like we kind of getting put
really
onto it more and more. Yeah,
He's a dope songwriter, man.
And I don't know how to pronounce this. Well, you can't. So it's 3 beginning parentheses 0 or an O maybe. 3 end parentheses.
So her name is O. She's,
okay.
She's FKJ's
Wife.
chick.
Yeah, they're married.
Yeah, so he does all her music basically.
Yeah, I mean, I've been put onto her before, just kind of through the playlist I put together. But recently, like the music that she's done, and she's got an album that instead of like it's the number 1 where the O is, and that album it's not new by any means. It's a couple years old, but I've been listening to it. And just with the vibes, with the rainy days that we've been having lately, and the kind of like, gloominess and stuff, and the slowed down, very vocal, just kind of like R&B-ish soul feeling to it. I've been really digging her. And Daniel Caesar or Cesar? Cesar? And those New Mexico kids are like, how do you say this exactly? Cesar? Daniel Caesar has definitely been hitting me with the vibes lately too. Not necessarily new music that's been coming out, but just something that's been in my playlist recently. And shout out to Daniel Caesar. Yeah, got some really good, vocally strong.
Yeah, he's dope.
Yeah,
especially
awesome.
That album right there.
Yeah, this one right here. I've got a lot of his albums, random tracks, that I've been going through. It's definitely some cool artists there.
Hell yeah, man.
Peter, you got anything, man? You've been jamming?
I mean, just typical bullshit from me, I'm just kidding. The off season was obviously great. I think we talked about that last week, didn't we?
We touched on it, yeah.
Culture 3, man, didn't really impress me that much. I'm not gonna lie.
I didn't listen to it.
Personally, the Migos, like, they're cool, but they just, in my opinion, they just keep making the same song over and over again. Didn't impress me that much, man. The production is obviously top tier production, top tier beats. It sounds incredible, but I can only take, the pandemic so many times, bro.
I think their substance is very limited, and then they insist on putting these gigantic albums together. I mean, what is this, like 18 tracks or some shit?
Something like that.
That's too much, man. Especially.
Yeah, exactly. And it's got Drake saying, I don't want to talk about the plane, but look at the plane. I don't care, dude.
I think that's going to be the title of the episode, Look at the Plane.
Look at the plane, bro. I don't want to mention the plane, but look at the plane.
Nah, I feel bad, dude. I enjoy them in certain environments. But yeah, I don't really care to check my whole Migos album,
Yeah.
to be quite honest. But
One album I've been digging for sure is Polo G's new album.
okay.
Very, I don't want to say monotone kind of music, but
Vibey.
yeah, it's just vibes.
Yeah.
It's cool though. I mean, he's got Rap Star on this album. That's probably his biggest track right now.
Oh, okay.
Another thing that, this is just random. Do you remember when we I think it was me and you in particular, when we were talking about how album covers in the future are gonna be like motion pictures or moving videos?
Kind of.
So look at Polo G's album.
It's moving. Yeah, dude.
So
fucking
it's,
weird.
and it's gonna be like this more and more
Yeah,
and
I've-
more
I've
and
seen,
more.
I've seen iterations of that before. Where like
Yeah.
they have shit moving in the background.
Like Harry Potter looking.
Yeah.
but like
Pictures,
on the
yeah.
actual streaming service too. Like when you listen to, that's just so
Right.
weird.
It's
to
so
me.
weird,
So
dude.
like,
Well, who's gonna be like listening to a song but staring at the screen the whole time?
I mean,
now,
I
too?
guess that's.
I mean,
guess that's what it is. Man.
That's what the new kids love to do right now, stare at screens.
That's
So
crazy, man.
Well, guess we better get on that.
I think that's just about it for me though. Let me double check real quick.
Word.
Obviously, you mentioned Tyler the Creator's new album. Very good. I haven't put too much time into it, but I think I've gone through it twice so far. And yeah, obviously Lumberjack was great. Lemonhead I thought was super good. What is the one with Wayne Massa? Is it
No,
or
it's Hot Wind Blows.
okay? Yeah, that one was awesome too. And this album is almost an hour long.
Yeah, dude.
This-
That's what I was about to say.
He's
So
not
we were
messing around.
I just said how the Migos are putting together these long ass projects, but then I thought about it and I was like, wait, this Tyler project is 53 minutes, so it's like you can do a long album if you fucking have the musical ability
And
and
the
the
ma-
substance.
the
do it,
material.
you know, you have different shit to talk about for 18 fucking tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna listen, you know, but if you're just giving me Pandemic for 18 tracks, I mean, I'd probably take a couple that are like, yeah, I like this, but
There are a couple songs.
yeah.
But-
well, I heard the track, the Avalanche track, where they took the Temptations.
Yeah.
Papa Was a Rolling Stone shit. And I was like, oh, this is tight. Like,
Yeah.
I'm feeling this, but I didn't bother to check the album out because I kind of knew what to expect.
Yeah, you already know, bro.
Yeah. It is what it is. I guess that's gonna be it for us. Thank you guys for joining
Yeah.
me again for another great episode.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you, man.
We are gonna be coming at y'all again next month, end of the month. That's when we're gonna do these, the last Monday of the month. I'm gonna put these new new podcasts out. I'm really liking the vibes that we're setting up here, man.
Fun.
All the listeners out there, please get at us on, well, me, Twitter, and IG at Zoetic5D. You can get these guys on IG. Tell them you guys that's.
Gator got you.
Andy Chamberlain. CHAMBERLIN.
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
Check us out on social media, man. Remember to subscribe to my newsletter. Check out Patreon, Bandcamp, YouTube, all the music on DSPs, fifthdimensionlc.weebly.com. Thank y'all so much for tuning in.
Go check it out, man.
We'll check y'all
Do
out.
yourself a
Hey,
favor.
don't forget that Patreon exclusive project too coming out soon.
WPTR July 2nd. Please
Yeah.
look out for that.
Heater.
Definitely nice.
We'll check in with y'all next month. Y'all be good, be easy. Peace and blessings. Laters.
Peace. Love.
Happiness.